Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Just make sure Bailey's completely in shot. There he is. Hello. I hope you've had a lovely week, whatever you've been doing. Who have we got in chat? We got Danny Player One, we got Herbalist, hey Herbalist, and we got Autumn. And anyone else in chat, welcome in, welcome in. If you're watching this as a VOD, then thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, we're going to be finishing off some projects. So, first of all, I'm just going to dive straight in. We've got the Calamity, which I said I was going to finish off stream, and has just sat on my desk for a couple of weeks. Not finished. So, that's the first thing. And then, the thing that I said I was going to finish this week, but I didn't, we're going to finish off the mortar. The Demonsmith mortar. So today is kind of finishing all the stuff that I said I was going to paint this week and previous weeks. That's the plan. We're going to focus on the Calamity and then get as much of the mortar done as possible. But hello, hi. How was everyone's week? What were people up to? I might hang on. Excuse me while I strip. There we go. Ah! Nipple on camera. What a world we live in. Right, okay. So, what have we got to do with this? We need to finish sponging the brown on the weathering. And then we need to, I want to put a little bit of shading around the bottom of the lenses, because they're very, very vibrant, very bright. And then we've got the base to do. Nip slip. Yep, we got to love a nip slip. This Friday chill out stream with all the slipping of nipples. Hopefully that doesn't demonetize me. I'm not monetized anyway, so it doesn't matter. Ha 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 ha. And then I've got to push this gold. This gold's quite dark compared to previous ones. So yeah, I might dry brush some gold onto that, like a light gold. I'm not sure. Not sure yet. And then we've got the green bits. And, but we're going to start with... Sorry, I was just watching Bailey kick himself in the face. Yeah, you done? Okay, cool. Alright. What are we doing? Right, okay, yes, I need sponge. I had a sponge. I found a sponge the other day. And I thought to myself, that would be perfect for what I want to do. And I put it somewhere, and I found it. Yeah, random stuff on desk. Happy days. Happy days. Nope, that's way too high up. Is that too high up? There we go. Right. How is everyone? What have you been up to this week? Let's tear off a little bit of sponge and then shove the sponge in the hole. Behave. Behave. And that will give us a nice texture to work from. What did I use? Oh god, what did I use? Oh god, what did I use? It was so long ago. Was it Cygor Brown? I think it was Cygor Brown. Let's say yes. Maybe? I don't know. It was so long ago. Alright, let's try Cygor Brown. And go from there. Who knows? It's a chill, it's a happy-go-lucky stream. I've had a relatively chilled out day today, because tomorrow I'm driving to Bristol and back. Oh no, sorry, Wales and back. For a reason that I will explain next week. Ooh, tease. Right. Get away from me, dry paint. There we go. Okay. Hang on. Emails? What? Oh. Okay. Right. Okay. Yes. Going live on TikTok as well. Multitasking. Right. Tiny amount of that because we don't need a lot. And it's just because we've done the main body. We've done this missile launcher. We've got this missile launcher and the legs and the hips, I guess. The hips, is that what we're calling this? Sure. let's say hips, shall we? So start over here. I think it was Cygor Brown that I used because Cygor is quite strong, and once it goes on, you don't have to do multiple stabbings. Hedgehog, do they ever lie? That's one way to tell. That's true. What do we think? Do these hips lie? I think they're fairly truthful hips. What do we think, chat? There we go. How you doing, Hedgehog? Hey, welcome in everyone on TikTok. Put ye, welcome in. I'm good, thank you. How are you? We're just weathering up the calamity. Droid? I was going to say droid. Robot. Thing. This thing. Bailey, foot is not food. I think Bailey would beg to differ. Having a bad one, but it'll get better? What? What? No! Sofa got delivered, comes in one piece. So too big to get upstairs, so it's gone away. Oh no, you're joking. It wasn't flat packed? Boo. Is this the fold-out sofa? Thank you very much for all the likes already over on TikTok. Much appreciated. Was this the fold-out sofa, aka my future bed? Ooh, ouch. Okay, yeah, you are having a bad one. Okay. That's no bueno. The opposite of bueno. What's the opposite of bueno? Mal. Did I Spanish right? I think I Spanished right. Yes, no new nice sofa. I'm pissed and thinking about how much destruction I would need to make it work. Probably not worth it. Could you get it? No. I was just thinking, could you get it through the window? But no, you couldn't. I missed a bit. I've missed a lot of bits. I've missed a lot of bits. Welcome in, everyone, whether you're on TikTok or on YouTube. Thank you very much for swinging by on this Chill Out Friday stream. I was just about to say, there's no pressure, but I do have, like, a certain amount of work that I want to get done in this stream. So, there's not pressure, but also kind of pressure. What? Oh, what? That's the opposite of bueno, is bueno spelt backwards. God, I hate you. That's genius, but God, I hate you. So I'm just sponging on some Cygor Brown. Rude. Accurate, though. Theoretically, but it would require £200 to remove and replace, and then whatever it costs to hire a winch crane to get it in, and the same again when moving. Or, now hear me out, a trebuchet. Now, I know your immediate reaction would be... No, actually, your immediate reaction would probably be, yeah, I do. But saner people's immediate reaction would be a trebuchet. Who in this day and age has a trebuchet? Well. That is something you might be able to 3D print. 3D print, I hear you say. Ha! What a coincidence. Because I run a 3D printing shop. Was that a tenuous link? Yes, it absolutely was a tenuous link. I don't care. I care not for your judgment. Throwing it at the appropriate angle from the ground would have a better chance of getting it through the door. See, there we go. Trebuchet is the cause of and solution to all life's problems. Please don't trebuchet your new sofa through... I was going to say through the window, but it would be through your house. Oh, also, I found out something today. I don't know if you've seen it already. Griffin posted it on, I want to say, Instagram? Maybe Facebook? But, Star Wars Shatterpoint, the Rebels cards, their activation cards, are their wanted posters. They're the first ones to have different artwork, and the activation cards are the wanted posters, and it looks brilliant. Who designs a sofa that comes in one piece? I know, right? I feel like Hedgehog is needs some positivity right now that isn't sofa based. Right, we're going to put more kind of scratches and dirt around the legs, obviously, because they're going to be the ones that are going to have a bit more damage to them. Not too much, but I do like me a mucky leg. Do with that information what you will. What was that? I was ranting. And the best thing. Oh god, tell me what the best thing is. Tell me what the best thing is. Anyone who's watching this on a VOD or in general doesn't know Hedgehog. Oh my god, this Hedgehog guy's like really stressful. Why is so stressful? Very much not stressful person. I think yelling all the time about sofas and trebuchets. It's so strange. Losing an old sofa into the other room last night. Oh, you didn't. So you don't have a sofa in your living room right now. That's what cushions are for. I got a sofa if you want lots of dog hair with it. And for those who are offended by my current frustration, fight you. I think you're good. I think you're good. I think a lot of people in chat have seen the videos of you rock bombing someone into a mat. Safely, I will add to chat. It was all fun and games. There we go. Right. Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, it's gone back now. I wedged it back through on my own because I'm too stubborn to wait for girlfriend to help. There's the Hedgehog we know. Oh mate. Okay, yeah, it sounds like you've had a day. It's been a day. Oh, I got to do the rust on this as well, haven't I? Okay, I think that's all. I think that's all the dirt I want to put on. So we're gonna dive straight into, because that's pretty much that. It dries real quick. Mason Zilla, what model is this? This is the Calamity Devastator. What did I call it? I think it was the Devastator. Calamity Devastator. Yeah, I remember product names. Woohoo! Yeah, Calamity Devastator available on alchemistmodels.com. It's one of the sci-fi robots that we've got going on over there. I always say we. It is just me. We'll count Bailey. Bailey is we. So yeah, this is the Calamity Devastator. It's a 3D print available on my web store, and I'm just weathering it a lot at the moment. We're just about to put some rust effects. Yeah, it's been a day, but enough about me for a moment. How are you? I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been a productive week. Yesterday, and this is going to be, you'll appreciate this. I'd say you'll understand it. I was meta tagging my website all day. I was meta tagging every product page, and I think I'm seeing a difference already. Or that might just be me wishful thinking. Was I using ChatGPT to meta tag? Yes, I was. Was I going to do it individually on my own? No. So yes, AI. Hang on, I need to get rid of this, and I need to get rid of some. Push. Come back onto camera. There we go. So I don't know how many products do I have on my website? Hang on. I got down to C in the alphabet, so I have a total number of. It doesn't tell me. A lot. I've got a lot of products. There's a lot of products in the web store. And I'm meta tagging. For anyone who doesn't know, meta tagging is when you Google search something, or I would say or Bing, but who uses Bing? Come on. I apologise to the one Bing user in the chat right now. Claire Borner, hey, good afternoon, welcome in. Yeah, so the meta tag is the description in the Google search of the page, and it affects the SEO and how high you rank and blah blah blah, which is very, very important for a lot of reasons. But I was basically using ChatGPT to go through each of my pages and do that. Did it mind-numbingly bore me? Yeah, not as much if I wasn't doing it with AI. X Redacted, is that Leagues of Votann? No, this is not Leagues of Votann. This is not a Warhammer model, but, however, that being said, it could be used for Leagues of Votann. Absolutely. Or I think it'd be really good for AdMech. I think it'd be quite good. Honor Guard Dunewalker, I think. It's on, I think, the same base. I think this is 100mm base. You're doing the Cyberpunk robot today. Today is a finish project day. So I said I was going to finish this off stream. I didn't, clearly. So we've just got a little bit of work to do on this, mainly the base. And I'm just going to put the rust in, and then we're going to dive back onto the Demonsmith mortar, and we'll get that finished. I think I can do both projects in one day. Possibly, maybe, potentially. What do we think? There will be doubters in chat, I know. Records and Dragons. I like that name. Good name. Yeah, it would work really well as AdMech. I've kind of got it as a cyberpunk slash probably Diva. I want to say Diva or DVA. Diva from was it Overwatch? I've gone for those colours because I wanted to muck around with fluorescent paints. Okay, right. So Rust. This is the Inktensity. What is it? Inktense Oxide, which I have found very, very useful for Rust in the past, and I always go back to it, and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Very Diva from Overwatch. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like if Diva was in Fallout, I think. Totally got those vibes. Looks amazing. Thank you very much. Reminds me of the Borderlands. Yeah, it's kind of Borderlands as well. Yeah, it's got Borderlands. It's like the vibrant colours of Borderlands with the rust of also Borderlands. I got the Dirty Dan yellow rust last weekend. Looking forward to trying it. Ooh, I haven't seen the yellow rust. Intrigued with the yellow rust. I've got the brown. I've got like the OG Dirty Down rust. But I found that once it starts drying out, or you've had it open for a while, it stops being that effective. That's why I've gone back to this, because I don't have another one. I've got some Dirty Down rust, but it just isn't working in the same way that it used to for some reason. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's a drying out thing or I've used all of the good stuff in there. Not sure. But a mixture of the chrome sponging, the Cygor brown sponging, and the rust really kind of grimes up the and for the Brattling grime as well. It really grimes up the whole model. I'm a big fan. So that's the main part of that. I'm doing this model. I'm doing both models. They're both available on the web store, but I'm sorting them out like this. So I've got a painted product photo for them. So there's a little bit more colour on the website. Although recently, not to toot my own horn, I'm quite happy with how the website's looking recently. It's looking all professional and colourful and pretty, and yeah, I'm quite happy with how things are going. It's been a productive week. It has been a productive week. Thank you very much to those of you who have made orders recently. I will be getting them out within the next week, depending on when you ordered. Some went out yesterday. Some streaks of rust down there. There we go. Yeah, Rusty. Hey, what's going? It's just like 3D printed minis. Yes, it is. Yeah, 3D printed models. Yeah, so this is all 3D printed. And this is actually, this is a 2-part model. So it cuts off at the waist here, and then the rest of it is just printed completely. So it's a really nice model, really nice print. Let's put some nice rust underneath as well. All sci-fi fantasy is there's fantasy as well. There's loads of fantasy on there, and display models and busts and things like that. The only thing it hasn't got is historical, although I'm working on it. At some point soon, I will have some Cthulhu themed models, because I've got a license that literally just finished yesterday, so I'll get the models. The campaign for it finished yesterday, so I'll get the models in the next 2 weeks or so, and then I'll see what the renders are like. It might be that I'll have to print some out before I can start listing. I'm kind of in the mindset of I like printing out everything that I list, or most things that I list now, so I've got a physical representation. It's a bit more accurate than just going off the renders. Uga Chaka, hey, how's it going? Love that model and paint job. Hey, thank you very much. Is that a mech warrior? It is the Calamity Devastator. It's not from any particular game. It can be used as proxies for other models. Thank you very much for the gift. Dark Elves. Do I have Dark Elves? No. There's a couple of fantasy elves that could be darker, like D&D models. I can't remember whether they're actually up. I don't think they're actually up yet. What is coming is I am currently rescaling a load of 10mm fantasy, and on that list is Dark Elves. I have all the files, and so they're in the style of the classic fantasy armies that you can see on the website. So they're very similar to like Old Hammer. They're kind of heroic scale, borderline cartoony a little bit, not chibi style, but they're not realistic models. But they're a lot of fun, and you've probably seen some of them on my social medias, various social media things. And Dark Elves is on the list of things to do. It isn't next. Currently, I'm working through the Undead. But after that, I will probably do Dark Elves. If there's anything you're after in particular, then feel free to drop me a message, and I can have a look. I have had requests for Dark Elves before, and sorted out some custom prints. gonna sulk off and paint some orcs. Moria calls me. No worries, buddy. I will sort out that that final custom print. It's gonna be next week now. I'll get it out next week for you. A certain Ryback used to say, "Feed me Moria." I feel like that's an obscure wrestling. Oh, I know it's going to be wrestling, but obscure quote. We'll check out the site. I need dark elf bolt throwers. Definitely can do those. Definitely can do those. They're called dire elves. If you have a look on the website and have a look at the 10mm armies, which I think they're called. Go to the fantasy section and then go to fantasy small scale. There is a dire elf army pack. Have a look in that, and then you can see the bolt throwers in there. And I can scale those up to.
Oh, is it treat time?
228 mil. Treat time. We could do. Oh! I've woken him up now. He heard the words. Are we going to do treat time for Bailey? Uga Checker, thank you very much for the gifts. Is this Star Wars? No, but I can totally see it. I could totally see this would be like a remnant from the Clone Wars. God, I love this ink. Nearly forgotten that redeem. Poor neglected boy. I know. Right. We are going to do a little treat time. I'm not going to... I'm going to just give it to him because I've got a lot of work to do, but I'll just give it to him and you can watch it on the screen. You can treat. You don't have to move. It's okay. You've got the whole set. No, okay, you're moving. Oh, Bailey, you sweet dog. Okay, that's alright. There we go. Look. That's all yours. There we go. This looks really cool. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much. How are you doing today? If you're over on TikTok and you want to have slightly better cameras and a dog cam, then come over to YouTube. I'm also streaming over there at the moment. The link is in my bio. Okay, so we got that rust. A little bit. This ink works really well just straight over black, I think. Dog cam, god cam, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm well aware that people just come to this stream for Bailey cam. That's totally fine. That's why it exists. He gets paid in treats. Everyone's happy. Okay. I don't want to have too much rust around the actual missiles themselves. Maybe a little bit in the cracks, in the vents. There we go. Hedgehog, have you painted any of your goblins yet? Are you kind of waiting for the final warg? Yes, all the rust. We like it. Waiting for some of that free time people are talking about. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Not sure about that. He says, working from home with his own, able to pick his own hours. Assuming I'm awake enough for it. Oh wait, hang on. Got a loose plan to do them during recovery. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. As long as you're recovering at the same time. I don't want to have to drive up and nanny you, but I will. I'm gonna put a fair amount of rust around these lower sections. Looking really nice around the vents there, like that. Learn from back surgery that plans don't always come together. Oh yeah, no. Going to be running laps if you don't. What, come up and nanny you? We'd probably just end up playing Halo for like 48 hours straight, which, not a bad idea. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that on stream. Absolutely not. Nice try. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, you heathen. Yes. Nice and rusty. We love it. Right. Got a little bit of rust to put on this section here. Thank you very much for all the follows and the likes over on TikTok. Much appreciated. Think of all the views. Think of all the... No, not worth it. Tempting, but not worth it. Go on, go paint. Go do something. Go do something productive. Go. A little bit around the bottom here that we missed. Okay. That's what I like about this thing. Is you can be relatively, fairly liberal with it, and it still works. Especially when you're working on something from a kind of post-apocalyptic time and vibe. Cool. Okay. Warmass, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Fine, I'll do something less useful than provide you content. Or don't do that and stay here. Stay here, provide content, please. I need the content. Okay. Bailey, get on camera. Do your job. Right. What's up next? I've got to do the eyes, the lenses. We're going to shade those a little bit because on camera they look white, but they're not. That is just because I use fluorescent paint and they're really bright. What we will do is we're going to grab some white paint and we're going to overbrush the base. Where's the white paint? There it is. Oh, hang on. Emails. Are these important? No. They are not important. Never mind. Right. White paint. And we're going to overbrush. Being fairly... I mean, we're not going to be neat doing this. But we will use... What brush are we going to use? We'll use this. This is... yeah, sure. So it's not dry brushing, it's not full painting. I'm just putting a white coat on, and then we'll go in with the... What did we use? It was howling sand on all the other ones. I have a theme base for all of the post-apocalyptic models on the website. I'll try and be as neat as I can, but I'm not overly worried about getting white on the very tips of the legs, because when you put the howling sand over, it will just look like the ground is or dirt that's kind of sprayed up onto the feet. So I'm not too worried about it. That's why I've got such a big brush. There we go. So I've got this and the Demonsmith mortar to finish today. If I can get this done in the next 25 minutes, which I think is doable, then that's an hour left on the Demonsmiths, which might be pushing it a little bit, but maybe possible. Maybe possible. I'd like to get both projects finished today. Okay, so that is, I think, all the white. Again, I don't mind that there's brown coming through, because that will just add more texture and colours to the base. Let's give that brush a wash off. Okay. I'll let that white paint dry, and what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to get a fairly fine detail brush. We're going to get a darker green, maybe like orc skin, I think. Orc skin would be quite cool because it's quite... Oh no, let's go vivid green. Shamrock green. My go-to feel-good green. And we need a bit more of a detail brush than that. We'll go with this one. And on the underside of these lenses, I'm going to put a semicircle, and then before it dries, I'm going to just wash off with a damp brush and then blend in that section there. And it adds a bit more richness to the colour, to the lens. And then we're going to go over with a gloss varnish, I think. And really make them shine. Go a little bit more on, I think I wiped off quite a lot on this central one. It's not quite drying where I want it to. There we go. Right one's slightly darker than the other two, so we'll darken down these two to match it. It's a nice tone. That's a really vibrant green. Tell you what, just use our finger to take the most of it off. Go. So there you go. It's added a little bit more depth into the lenses, and then once that's dried properly, we'll go in with some gloss varnish and just give them a bit of a shine. Now I think that white paint has dried, so that's where we get our Howling Sand. A really big brush, probably the same brush? Yeah, same brush, why not? Just get a dry kitchen roll. Make sure we're not watering down the Howling Sand too much. Now we're going to need a lot of this because the sand on the base really soaks up this paint. And we're going to put a nice even coat all over, and that will seep into the recesses and fall off those highlights. And while we're doing this, actually, because it's quite a big base, I need Brownish Decay in a separate pot next to it, and we're going to mix them in. So while we've got that, we're just going to drop in Brownish Decay in sections, and there'll be a kind of capillary action between the two. If you want a detailed look at how I did these kind of bases, there's a full tutorial on my YouTube. It was actually one of the first tutorials that I put up. One of the first. Right, we're going. I might just drop this straight onto the base actually. Ooh, hello. That's going to be easier. There we go. And we'll just let it flow around the base. I might just drop in the Brownish Decay like that actually. That kind of works. Dropper bottles for the win. Get with it, GW. Come on. Sort it out. There we go. Just do carefully round the bottoms of the legs, aka the feet. And while that's still drying, I'm just gonna drop this off in sections, and it's going to just have that capillary action and flow through the still drying Howling Sand. You can see it spreading out there. A little bit around this leg. And then that'll, as that dries, that will have a really nice blended effect. Maybe a little bit around this foot here. Now what is quite important is to keep this model flat, because obviously it's going to move wherever gravity is going to take it. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit around the base of that rock just to give it a little extra shading. But there you go. So we'll just wait for that to dry, and then we'll go around the rim with a black, and we'll put some gloss varnish on the eyes, and then that model's done. So while we're waiting for that to dry, because that will take quite a while to dry, because I put a lot of paint on it. We're going to dive over to the Demonsmith Mortar. This is a fantasy from the fantasy range, from the classic fantasy range. Baby Hulk, thank you very much. That's very kind. Thank you for all the likes as well. Much appreciated. So we'll give that brush a nice wash off. And then over to the Demonsmith Mortar. So we've done we've almost finished with the crew. This guy's done. The ogre is all done, apart from the base. But I'll do the bases all at the same time. This guy's done. These two need detailing. So we might set up the basis of the detailing first. And then this, the chain needs washing down with rattling grime. And then the whole thing... Ooh, the whole thing? I don't think the whole thing's going to have rust on apart from the chains. The chains are going to have rust, but that's about it. But we are going to have a white glow in some of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to grime the chains first. Sorry, it's just setting up the order of painting. So we're going to grime the chains first, and while that's drying, we will then have a look at the detail, the start of the detail on the crew. And then once the grime on the chains has dried, we'll go back in with the rust effect on the chains. And after that, it's going to be OSL and detailing on the overall model. Now I'm just wetting my brush and just taking off the highlights and then just dragging my finger across and just getting it off the real extreme exposed areas. Use all the tools to your exposal? That's not even a word. Disposal. There we go. Including your finger. Thank you very much for all the follows. Much appreciated. Do feel free, if you're over on TikTok, to come and watch on YouTube. There are better angles and better cameras, better quality cameras, and a dog cam. So we're just going to leave that to one... Actually, no. What we're going to do is... we're going to dry brush some white, I want to say. Yeah, let's dry brush some white with a fine dry brush. Let's use that one. That one. That one? Or that one? Let's use this one. Okay, so we've got some white left over. And so all of the Demonsmiths have this kind of green magical runes about them. They've even got green eyes as well. We need to do the pupils on that. So from inside here, I want it to look like it's going to fire green. So we're going to kind of overbrush the inside and then dry brush the out as it's coming up the barrel. And then we're going to essentially dry brush some green in there. To look like it's glowing. We're also going to do it around the stack here. And then I'm going to, for the stack especially, we're going to put some white ink around it. So we've got this section here, and then we'll just wash off the dry brush. And somewhere around here I've got some white ink. There it is. Danny! Hey Danny, how's it going? I'm good, mate. How are you? Right, so this is Inktensity. It's the same brand as the Rust ink that I use. Really, really good. I'm not sponsored by any of the paint that I use. I would love to be, don't get me wrong. But I'm not sponsored. This is just stuff that I personally very much enjoy. What brush are we going to use? We're going to use this brush. And then for all these sections here around the stack, we're just going to put a dollop of white ink in there. Making sure it goes into all the recesses. Good. Just quickly stopping by to say hi before leaving towards Birmingham. Yes, you've got your Blood Bowl thing, haven't you? Best of luck. Hope you have a lovely weekend, mate. Is it a 2-day thing, or is it just tomorrow? Over a little bit. There we go. I don't mind if the white goes slightly over the edges. If it's too much, I'll wipe it up though. Today it'll be fun. Oh yeah, you're gonna be knackered on Monday. You're gonna be absolutely exhausted, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be worth it. What team are you taking? To be fair, tomorrow's going to be a long day for me because I'm driving to Wales and back. Okay, just going to put a little bit of white ink in the top just to make it really vibrant in the centre bit. Macy, thank you very much for the gifts and the follow, much appreciated. Very, very kind. Right, okay. Put a little bit of white ink around that, and then we'll water down just to blend it in, just make sure we don't have any horrible tide marks. Thank you very much, it's very kind. Danny, playing Elven Union, so no surprises there, unless you count I play like a madman and no one usually expects my BS plays. Do it, do it. Be unpredictable, be the unpredictable elf. Alright, so we're going to put that to one side and let everything dry. And we're going to do some detail work on the 2 remaining crew. Let's just have a look at how this is drying. So that's coming on quite nicely. That base, you can see that the 2 different shades of browns are blending in together as they dry. It's a really, really quick, efficient way of doing a funky base. Yes, I used the word funky. We're bringing it back. There we go. Right. So detailing. Oh, do I want to add some? This gold's gone a little dark even for me. So what we're gonna do is gonna dry brush. How do I want to do this? Let's try dry brushing it. Why not? So we're gonna take Hoplite Gold? No, Glittering Loot. We're gonna dry brush with some speed paints. Antiv, hey Antiv. Found out I need a new needle and nozzle that hard by ruining a paint. Oh no, that's with the airbrush, yeah? No worries, Danny. Safe trip. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll speak to you afterwards. Okay, so a little bit of Glittering Loot on my palette. I'm gonna put a little bit on the dry brush, and we're just gonna see. That's a little bit too wet. Let's just wipe off most of it on the old hand. Hopefully lighten it up a little bit by dry brushing the edges. Yeah, there we go. It's just catching the light a little bit more. I think that's what it needed. And we'll do this around the edge of the hat. that's it. And then maybe a little bit on these arrows. Just makes that dark a little less oppressive. There we go. Dry brushing speed paints. Who'd have thought it? Yeah, that's nice. So since that's working, we're going to use that on this guy, and just on the highest points there, and then around the collar. Because I noticed that the Nazdrag yellow over the Gravelord grey ends up looking quite similar to leather if you don't have a metallic fleck in there. So that's what we're doing now. Give it a little bit of shine. Imagine 3D print. Teach me, master. I am no way a master. However, I do have some tutorials on YouTube. So if you head over to the YouTube channel where I'm also streaming with better quality stuff, you'll be able to find some of the tutorials. One of which is how I did this base in more detail. So do feel free to head over there and see if it helps. Alright, okay, we're just going to dry brush a little bit more of that top of that hat there. Cool, okay, right. At least new nozzles and new nozzles and needles aren't that expensive for airbrushes. Not that expensive. It's not like you have to get a new airbrush. Okay, clean off that brush. What is next? We're going to put a little bit of white on these lenses, because these lenses need to go a colour. I don't think I want them green though, because that's what the colour of the eyes are. So maybe like a vibrant yellow. Ooh, a yellow for the lenses. That would be cool. Are you this good? That's very kind of you. I'm in no way an incredible painter. I just have my style and I'm refining it. But that's very kind. Thank you. Okay, so let's do the white. Let's do the white first. So we want a detail brush. No, not you. You're a detail brush that I want. And then we'll very, very carefully paint in the lens white. And then yeah, I think using something like a Yandan yellow for a vibrant lens would be cool. I think it would be too much. I want the green to be kind of organic. Even in the runes, I want it to be like a living magic. So it wouldn't work, I don't think, for lenses. Ah, thank you very much for the follow and all the gifts. Much appreciated. Thank you. Very, very careful. And then there's two lightning bolts either side of this guy's helmet that we're going to do in a similar fashion, but we're just going to use the white ink for that. There we go. Oh, do I white ink it? No, we dry brushed it last time, didn't we? Okay, cool. Right, so just trying to think what I did for the previous one. So we dry brush. Ooh, a little bit too much. Let's just take off a little bit there. There we go. It looks messy, but it will make sense. It will make sense. Cool, okay. Joe, I want to start getting into painting Warhammer, but a bit overwhelmed on where to start. Any ideas? Absolutely, absolutely. I really need to make a YouTube video about this, because the amount of times I get asked this. Yeah, so what I would do is, first of all, is it specifically Warhammer that you want to paint, or is it miniatures in general? Because there's loads and loads of other miniatures out there that honestly are cheaper and of equal or sometimes better quality. So, but if it's specifically Warhammer, then what I would recommend doing is just walking into a hobby store if you have one nearby, whether that's a Warhammer store itself or a local gaming store that happens to sell Warhammer, and don't worry about like what armies go with what and the rules and something like that. Just go in and pick up a model that you think looks cool for whatever reason. And then there's lots of starter paint sets that you can get. I would recommend looking at something from Army Painter. Army Painter have recently brought out their new Fanatic range, which apparently is very, very good. I use the speed paints; they're slightly different, and I can't attest personally for the Fanatic range because I haven't used them, but I've heard very, very good things. And they usually have starter sets, and it will come with a brush and all your kind of basic colours. And then just pick up that, and you might need some like hobby tools, like some glues and some glue and some clippers, maybe some files or something like that. And then just pick up one model and have fun. You don't need to worry about painting it the same colour as the box art, although that is a good place to start if you're feeling a little lost. But if you want to just paint it whatever colours you want, then go nuts, do that. It's your hobby. I'm very much a fan of that kind of idea. But it's your hobby and no one can tell you how to do it. And then check out places like YouTube or live streams like this for advice and ideas. I have some tutorials on my YouTube channel which can help you get started. I think I will do like a getting started in the hobby video. I have so many ideas for video content, but I'm also running a 3D printing shop at the same time, so sometimes I have to juggle things. If you're not looking at just Warhammer, hey Valref, by the way, sorry I saw you in chat. If it's not just Warhammer you're interested in, just miniature painting in general, then shameless plug, I would have a look at alchemistmodels.com. You can look anywhere basically, but I run a 3D printing shop, and I try to keep my prices as kind of affordable. Let's say affordable as possible, because I know that life is expensive, but I also need to make a living, so I try and walk that tightrope. And there's a wider range, so sci-fi, fantasy, display stuff on there. I hope that kind of answers your question. I hope that helps. Any other questions that anyone has, either in TikTok or on YouTube, then please, don't be afraid. I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. Right, so we've just done the pupils on his eyes, which was just a kind of vertical kind of snake slit with Black Legion. I want the eyes on these to look quite snake-like or quite lizard-like. I didn't want them to look natural. Not to get any on the helmet. Cool, there we go. 100% has helped. Thank you. Oh, awesome. Moving from model tanks and planes. So you have tools. So you're not completely like brand new to the hobby, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, just go and have a look at models that you like the look of. I'd say the Warhammer, Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, everything in between, have a very distinctive style. So there are different styles between companies, and I'm sure you're aware. They're going more realistic compared to where they were, and less on the heroic scale. But there are definitely kind of more realistic models out there. There's also darker models out there, as in theme-wise. So it depends on kind of what your style is. No idea to where to start with Warhammer. It's so broad. It is, and I totally get it. It can be a very intimidating hobby when you first start out. Let's grab some of that. So I would kind of break it down into what themes in either fantasy or sci-fi. First of all, do you want to do fantasy or do you want to do sci-fi? And then kind of what themes interest you. Are you thinking about Lord of the Rings and things like that? Are you more of a dwarf fan or an elf fan or a human fan? Orcs, the ring race? Because all of those kind of stereotypes can be broken down into like various different armies. If you like orcs, then obviously orcs, elves, dwarves, humans, that's fairly straightforward. If you like ring race, then maybe look at demons or I think Mantic Games do like Shadow Stalkers or like the Dark Elves or something like that. I just walk into a store and go, that's a cool model, that one please, regardless of what army it goes with or whatever. Right, so this hammer has got these lightning marks there, so we're gonna throw some paint into those as well. Not with that brush though. We're going to use that one. Imagine 3D Prints just got a Warhammer 40k starter pack. You get 6 Citadel paints, one brush, and 3 models. Yes, I think I know the exact one you're talking about. The one with 3 Space Marines, yeah? Yes, yeah. I would say if you're enjoying the hobby, then I would look at picking up a different paintbrush, because I am not a fan of GW paintbrushes, especially the one, and I know exactly that brush, especially the brush in that set. It's absolutely fine for very beginning your hobby journey. There's nothing wrong with it in that respect, but it's not a very well made brush, and your painting, you'll appreciate painting a lot more when you go a little bit more upmarket and in better quality. So have a look at ranges like Army Painter and the brushes I use are for, where are they? They're Raphael watercolor ones, so you don't have to go hobby brushes. You can look at like traditional artist brushes. That also helps. Okay. You got some from Army Painter. Yeah, perfect. Right, so that's all of the white ready, like done for all the glow effects. We'll just leave that to dry for a second. Is there anything? I don't think there's anything more to do on this guy. I think that guy's pretty much done. So how's this lot doing? That still needs a little bit more time to dry. So maybe we can make a start on this. I'll tell you what, we can do the lenses. Let's do the lenses. So for that I wanted to use Iyanden Yellow, I think. Iyanden Yellow or Zealot Yellow? Iyanden, I think. Oh, verify the video. I'm still live. There we go. Maybe look at those. Sounds like a good place to join and move from there. Yeah, absolutely. Your technique is crazy. Thank you. So my technique is slightly different. It's I predominantly use speed paints and contrast paints. So they are essentially, for those of you who don't know, they are highly pigmented washes. So you start with a lighter base coat. That's why I'm starting from a white here, and then you essentially tint the undercoat or the base coat, and the darker parts of the wash will flow into the deepest recesses, while it leaves the highlights with a brighter tone. So you can essentially do your midtones, your highlights, and your shading in one pass. That's the theory. What I do is then I build on it. So, for example, this skin. This was all used this is all done by using speed paints. So we started with white, and then we went in with, I think this was Peachy Fleck. No, I think this was Crusader skin. That one. And then I watered down some of the green wash and some of the purple wash and used that for details and made it a little sickly. And around the back on those kind of two pustules, I went in with a more vibrant pink and watered it down so it blended nicely in with the existing skin. Right, Yandan Yellow onto these lenses. Don't need a lot of this. Fairef, as a digital artist, I suggest taking a good photo of the Mini and any colour in an image editor like Curta, with each colour as it's only the layer that you can adjust the hues and layers individually. Oh, so you can have a look at what the potential scheme could be. Right, detail brush, and then we'll put a big bit in there. There we go. So this is contrast Yandan Yellow going over white, and it doesn't matter if it kind of spills on the outside. In fact, we kind of want it because we want that glow effect, that subtle glow effect. There we go. I don't know if you can see on my phone. Focus. You can kind of see it, and then on the YouTube camera it comes across a lot better. Okay, so we've got that. I think that's pretty much done. So we're gonna go in with. I always forget the green that I used. Was it I don't think it was Shamrock. I think it was Hexwraith. I want to say maybe. No, what did I use on this? This was a mixture. This was Ghoul Green and then shaded with Shamrock. So we're just gonna use Shamrock. And we're going to use that brush for kind of finding the color schemes that speaks to you. Oh, okay, yeah. That's great from a planning point of view. For me, I like planning on the model. I like creating the scheme as I go along. It's a very improvisationary way of working. I'm not sure that was a word, but we'll go with it. More paint on the brush, and then. Go, wash that off, and then so we've got a little bit left on the brush, and we'll just go over the edges so it blends and gives that glow effect like that. Actually, what we're going to do is just go over the edges a little bit, and then just use our finger just to dab and pick up the excess. Okay, and there's that green glow that we've been trying to achieve on all of these Demon Smith models. A little bit more paint. Minis would be the only area I plan out like this when it comes to narrative writing and other hobbies. Very spur of the moment, improvisational. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. It completely depends on how you prefer to work. I don't necessarily like planning things out unless it's like a specific, like for a commission, and there's a very specific kind of design brief. But if I've got free reign on something, I feel like I'm trapped if I have too much of a plan. So I like to just without sounding as stupid as possible, let the model talk to me. See where I go from there. We have this rune glowing a little bit, so it'll give off an effect. on its surrounding areas like that. What do you use to thin the paint? Water or medium? Honestly, I just use water. You can use medium depending on how like technical you want to get, but I find water helps it flow a little bit better. That's just kind of personal preference. There you go. That got that little green glow from the rune on his backpack. Nice. Cool. Right. Is that everything on these? Yes. So by this point, this is probably dry. The white is dry on this. So what we're going to do is the same idea, just in the stack here. And you've got that really cool mystical glow. We'll do it in all the recesses. There. Easy FX, what's up? How's it going? Thank you very much for tuning in over on YouTube. Looks so good, thank you. That's very kind. How are you this fine Friday? There we go. I'm just going around each section, giving it that nice glow effect. Thank you very much for all the likes over on TikTok. We're almost at 1.4 thousand likes. Much appreciated. Thank you. Easy. I'm alright, just trying to get through this 12-hour work shift. Ouch. Damn. What hour are you on now? I hope it's not being too much of a drag for you. Don't mind watching you paint to pass the time. I'm happy I can help. If you've got any questions about what I'm doing, then please don't be afraid to ask. I'll provide as many answers as possible as I can. Hey, thank you very much for sharing the live over on TikTok. That really helps push it out to new people. Do I want to use that brush? No, I don't want to use that brush because this is a nice brush. 4th hour, but it'll pass. Thanks for asking. No worries, no worries. Hopefully it'll go by in a breeze. Right, so we're going to go with our blending brush, which is actually an older, really nice brush that I used to use. And we're just going to put that in there. Wash it out and then just blend it into the metalwork. So you don't have that drying line. Rid of that, and then once that's dry, we'll put another coat of green, and we need to richen that down, because at the moment it just looks like paint, but we need to richen that so it's a little bit more like up here. But that's the general idea. You got the general idea. While that's drying, we're going to dive over to our rust effect that we used on, so for those of you who just joined, this is what we were painting earlier. Which the base isn't quite dry yet, but we're finishing projects. This is the Calamity Devastator, and I was using the rust effect on it earlier, the rust ink, and we're going to do the same that we did there on these chains here. Is this for Warhammer Army or what's this for? So basically, I run a 3D print shop. alchemistmodels.com, and a lot of, or almost all of it, is for proxies and kind of alternative models. So yes, this is definitely styled off some older style Warhammer, like the Chaos Dwarfs, but they are their own thing and can be used for anything you'd like. So rust effect. So this is the Intense Oxide, and rather it's less of a Speed paint more of a literal ink. So very, very high in pigment. And we're just going to put a couple of drops on the palette off camera, and with a rough brush we're just going to put it into the recesses of the chains, and then wipe it off the top bits with our finger. I'm not going to put it on all of the metal sections. I think I like just the idea of it just being on the chains, but the actual engine itself is fairly well maintained. Might be a little bit of rust, maybe. No, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to oxidize it. So there you go. So the chains match the ogre there. I think I'm gonna oxidize it. So what we're gonna do is, somewhere I have, there it is. This is a GW technical paint, Citadel technical paint called Nihilek. Nihilek? I can never pronounce this word here. Oxide. It's an oxide paint, and we use it exactly in the same way as the rust paint, and it will flow into the recesses. What do you use these figures for? So these ones will be acting as product photo for the website, but from a gaming point of view, you can use them as proxies for things like Warhammer or Age of Sigmar or Mantic, like Kings of War, One Page Rules, any game system that might take your fancy. So there you go, you got that oxidization going round, and we'll do that. Try maybe keep it off the gold, and we'll just have it on the silver sections. Maybe a little bit on the gold. Maybe a little bit on the gold. Definitely any tabletop game that you're like, oh, this model would be really cool for this, and that's kind of the idea. But these specific ones are going to be photoed up. These are all already available on the website. It's just unpainted versions, and I want to have painted versions. Put a little bit around the edges. There. So yeah, for those of you who are completely new to the hobby, these figures can be either used for tabletop gaming or just painting. You know, people just enjoy the hobby aspect of it, the modelling and the painting side of things. For a long time, I was definitely more of a painter than a gamer, especially, you know, that's why a lot of people did during lockdown, when people weren't able to get some games in or, you know, meet up with their friends. They could still paint and enjoy the hobby that way. Rusty Gold looks really good. It looks like an aged Grim. Yeah. I'm a big fan of like the grimdark aesthetic. So even though I don't like Souls-like games, but Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, I love the art style. And I love how dark and grimy it is. So I try and kind of put a little bit of that into my paint jobs. Even though I hate playing Souls games. They're great games, but it's just not my style. But the art style, like, I would kill for like a Dark Souls or Elden Ring art book. I'm sure they exist. Actually, I am going to put a little bit on this gold as well, because it just kind of looks cool. Just not as much. Most of it's going to go on the silver, but just to blend it in a little bit. So we're using an old brush that, you know, has lost its point a long time ago. Do I ship worldwide? Yes, I do. Yeah, there's only there's a couple of countries that I don't ship to, but I ship to most places. and it's a flat fee for international shipping. It's free shipping from to the UK if the order's over £50. If it's over £100, it's free shipping worldwide. If it's under £100, there's a flat fee of £18 for international shipping. Obviously, that doesn't cover, import fees and things like that. But there's not much I can do about that, I'm afraid. I felt the don't like Dark Souls game. Yeah, I play video games to chill out, and they are not chill out games. Art style is really good though. I'm a huge fan of Berserk, so anything grimdark is my style. Oh, awesome! Yeah, I think I've watched like 1 or 2 episodes of Berserk, and I really want to get back into it because everyone who kind of knows my like for this art style has said I would like Berserk. So I would like to kind of continue and watch a bit more Berserk or read it. Do I paint Warhammer? I paint Warhammer occasionally, but I'm mainly painting things for my shop. So let's call it Warhammer adjacent. But I used to play Warhammer a lot, but I've since moved away onto other systems. So I play a lot of one-page rules and Star Wars Shatterpoint, and occasionally a little bit of Gaslands. More of a light-hearted adventure kind of guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing a lot of. I think it's just the fact I like I love the dark aesthetic. It's just the thing that people love about Dark Souls, like the challenge stuff, is the stuff that I don't like, because I don't know. I really enjoy storytelling aspect of games, and if you die for the 100th time on a very, very simple thing, it kind of just kills it for me. But I totally get why people like it. I totally understand it. I would love to play, because I'm playing a lot of Baldur's Gate at the moment. I would love to play a game that has the storytelling aspect of Baldur's Gate, but the aesthetic of Dark Souls and Elden Ring. That would be my jam. I'm also a massive Diablo player, or I used to be. I don't play as much now, but I used to play a lot of Diablo. That's where my kind of fondness for the dark aesthetic, like that dark gothic horror, that's where it started, was with Diablo 2. So yeah, so I went into this saying, like, I'm not going to put this all over, and that's exactly what I've done. But I'm kind of okay with it. We won't put any on the chains, though. Get behind a game like that? Yeah, right? Someone needs to make that game. Larian needs to make a Diablo RPG in the style of Baldur's Gate. That I don't usually buy games on like day one release. I would throw money at them for that. A Diablo RPG in the style of Baldur's Gate 3? Yes. Take my money. Okay, put a little bit there, a little bit there. Yeah, cool. I like that. Don't forget the inside, because it looks weird if you only paint the outside. Cool. There we go. Well, there's no difficulty slider. There's a way of making Souls games less frustrating. Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they are. But the way that they are designed, like the way that they are designed to play, is why I don't like playing them. So at their very cool core of gameplay, I don't like them. I've given Elden Ring multiple goes. I kind of got into it the second time, but it didn't hold me enough to really get into it, unfortunately. Dark Sun was and still is the best D&D. I've heard of Dark Sun. I think we were talking about Dark Sun a couple of streams ago. Need to get back to D4. Have 2 rogues at 50+. I've got... What have I got? I've got Necromancer and a Sorceress, and I started on a Rogue. High level Sorceress is insane. Right, we need a little bit more Shamrock Green. We're going to darken that colour inside. What's time? It's 5:30. So... There he is, my favourite miniature painter with godlike skills. That's incredibly kind. Yet, unfortunately, my battery is on 15% and it's 5:30, so which is usually the time that I sign off on TikTok. But if you want to continue, everyone on TikTok, if you want to continue watching the stream, head over to YouTube. I'll be live for another half hour, but my phone is very nearly dead. But I will be live again over on Monday on TikTok. So I will see you soon. Bye. The phone's dying. There we go. Okay, let's charge you. Boop. Right. Okay. Let's move that out of the way. Alright. Also, need a drink. Jesus Christ. Rogues are the weakest class so far this season. What is in Diablo? I've heard this season's really good. It is. I've got Diablo on Xbox, but I've cancelled my Xbox Live, so I can't really play it at the moment. Got my Druid to 40ish and stopped in Diablo 4. I think like Diablo 4, the story is really, really good. It's definitely a lot slower, I'd say, than previous Diablo. Definitely slower than Diablo 3. But the Diablo games, all like the newer one, the Diablo 4, it starts when you finish it. That's when the real game starts. Is when you finish the campaign and do all the New Game Plus. Oh, not New Game Plus. So you know what I mean. That stuff. That's where it really gets cool. So you need to kind of crack past level 50, and then it gets really fun. Druid leveling is notoriously painful. I haven't played the Druid. Druids, I never really liked playing them that much in Diablo 2. So they were probably like the bottom of the list. Immediately went for Necromancer. I will always go for a Necromancer. Right, that, apart from the base, is done, which means we've just got the basing. Sick. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Right. How did we do the basing for these? This was Darkwood. Alright, give me a clean slot on my palette. So we're using Speed Paint Darkwood for this. It's great, the gearing is much better. They overhauled the legendary aspect so that the codex stores the most powerful version of the aspect you unlock. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'd like to get back into it at some point, but I'm very much of a point in my gaming life where I will pick 1 or 2 games and then not move on from them until I finish them, or play it up until the point where I'm bored. And Baldur's Gate at the moment, I haven't finished the story yet. I'm just at the beginning of Act 3 in Baldur's Gate, or I've just entered the city essentially, without spoilers. So I from what I understand, I've still got a decent amount of time, and I'm already planning my next character. So I'm going to be on Baldur's Gate for a while. Did you ever play Warhammer Dark Heresy? Is that the role-playing game? Or is that a video game? I don't recognise it. Dark Heresy. Is that a 40k role-playing game? There are more uniques that support more builds, and there are endgame builds that don't even use uniques. Really intriguing. Yeah, I think that was always an annoying thing with Diablo. Annoying in a kind of good way is if you wanted an end game, you needed very specific pieces of gear. I remember back in Diablo 2, like every class apart from Sorceress, you had to have an Enigma chest plate because it gave you that +1 to teleport, and then every class could teleport, and it was insane, and like that, everything was built around that. 40k RPG. No, I haven't played it. I've seen the books. I'm sure I've seen the books in various stores. The only RPG I play, like tabletop RPG, is D&D because I run games. But I'm just about to finish up a 4-year long campaign that we started during lockdown, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then I get to play. Then one of the players, who was relatively new to D&D when we started, wants to run their own campaign. So I get to play, which is amazing. Because otherwise I was going to be a forever DM, which I don't mind. I really enjoy it. I'm down to try Warhammer TTRPGs. See, for that kind of thing, I'm very much in the, like, I don't want to learn too many systems, because if I don't play them often enough, and I don't get to play often enough, then I'll just forget them, and it just means that I have to learn a system every time I play it. So if I wanted to play a Warhammer like role-playing game, I would probably just take the rules of Dungeons and Dragons, because that's what I know, and then just put it in a different setting. I was listening to the rules of Dark Heresy and I was intimidated. Yeah, I think that's like, it's intimidating learning a new rule set. How do you feel about a 4-year campaign wrapping up? It's really, really cool. I'm planning the final session. Basically, there's 3 players. One of them I went to drama school with and studied with. The other 2, I've known them for like 4 years since I started playing. I've never met them in person. So for the final game, or the final 2 sessions, we're actually meeting in real life for the first time. We're renting out a kind of Airbnb place, meeting up and doing the final sessions in person, which I'm really, really excited for. But it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be cool. I've told them that my my mission in a nice way is to make them cry. Like if there's a dry eye at the end on that table at the end of the weekend, then I have failed as a dungeon master. Is it ending the way you wanted or imagined? So in 4 years of running this campaign, I've written down probably less than 10 pages of A4 in 4 years. I do not prep at all. Most of it is improvised in my head as we go along. An example of that is recently they're in Wonderland at the moment because they're trying to save someone, and they're just about to. They've started the assault on the Queen of Hearts castle, which I think there is official rules for it, like the Castle of Heart's Desire or something. It's in the Witchlight book. So I'm kind of taking influence from that. But they're all in Wonderland, and they came across, I know one of the players is a big wrestling fan. So, okay, all right, we're going to have a wrestling match. And we made Wondermania. That was the names one of the players came up with. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, Wondermania is the thing. And they came up with a 3-way, like a stable, like a tag team. And we improvised I improvised the storytelling of Wondermania, a WrestleMania set in Wonderland. Their first match was against a kind of luchador team, and it was 3 of the Queen's guards. In the old Alice in Wonderland animated film, the guards are playing cards, right? with legs and feet and heads, but they're playing cards. So I had 3 of those with luchador masks, and they were Lucha Poker Party. So that was their first match, and then they went on to fight for the championship. It was the Knave of Hearts, which then turned out to be something else. But yeah, that I don't plan a lot. So when someone asks, to get back to your question, so when someone asks like, is it going how you expected? No idea. No, I had like 1 or 2 ideas that have been a running theme. Like I know how it's going to end and where it started, and there's like key characters that will crop up every now and again that they have to meet. Apart from that, completely improvised. Don't you love planning something for your campaign and the players take it to a whole different direction? My party always does that. I'm a player, not a DM. So yeah, I used to plan, and then found out very quickly that you can plan, and then within 5 minutes, all of that hard work will go out the window, and because the party might just do a 180 and go and do something completely different. So I learned, just don't plan. Become very good at improv. Actually playing a Dark Sun campaign with my family members. Had to go back to 3.5 rules because of the psionics, and had to do a lot of home brewing. So Dark Sun is is it set in like a desert land? Is that Dark Sun? I vaguely remember like we were talking about it, I think, on a previous stream. Right, okay, let me continue. I'm getting distracted. I've only got 19 minutes left. So Darkwood. But yes, I really enjoy homebrewing stuff. The next campaign that I'm going to run, I will plan a lot more. I'm going to make a map. There is going to be a lot more planning in it, like world building. This time it has felt a little bit like, and you meet this person. This person's a person. They exist now, apparently. The only things that I really write down are names of places, just in case. Names of places and names of people, just in case I have to call back to it. Post-apocalyptic Bronze Age desert. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It kind of reminded me, from what people were saying, reminded me of like the Conan mythos. Velreth, Alki, later, can I pick your brain a bit? I need to make a setting for a Discord casual drop-in, drop-out, play-by-play, post-RP. Yes, you can pick my brain. If it's anything to do with like settings of Discord, wrong person to talk to. No idea. Discord confuses the hell out of me. I do not get it. But if it's like from a story building point of view and role-playing game, that I can help with. Homebrew scares me because of how OP things could get. That's so cool. Dark Sun is fun to play. I think like homebrew, I don't think I've ever played like traditional Dungeons & Dragons. I've always played, whether it's as a dungeon master or a player, I've always played some sort of homebrew, whether it's like, this is a different world, or here's characters or potential races that don't really fit in with D&D. I'm very much anti-rules lawyering, so fortunately this hasn't come up. But oh no, sorry, it came up once that I had the party meet they were going to fight some sort of creature, and one of the party went, I know what the creature this is, because I'd just given them descriptions, and they gone, oh, I know what this is. And as soon as they went, I know what this is, I instantly changed some of the stats to just made them up. I kept the idea of the creature, but and the feel and the horror aspects, but I changed some of the skills because I didn't want a player to go, oh, I know how to beat this. I hate metagaming. So if anyone at my table starts metagaming, or my table starts the metagame, I'm changing it there and then because I want to keep you on your toes. Heavily sword and sorcery inspired. Yeah, I was getting that vibe. Love how Element Games was out of stock of the one thing I want. What do you want, Antiv? Oh, for your airbrush, you want those parts. My setting is Star Trek DS9 if the world was more like Shadowrun world. Ooh, okay, what, so kind of like cyberpunk Star Trek? I can get behind that. Yeah. Like lawless Lawless Star Trek with hacking. Yeah, okay. I can totally get behind that idea. Insta improvise. Yeah, absolutely. Metagaming makes things no fun. 100% agree. And no, don't get me wrong. There's a place for it. There's totally a place for people who really enjoy the kind of math behind D&D and kind of getting a perfect combination of things. I totally get that. But I look at D&D, all the books I have, you can see them there, those books there. I really want the whole collection of 5ed D&D books. Not because I want all the rules, it's because that is just such a big jumping off point for creating your own world and kind of telling a story. That's what I prefer to do. I'm telling a story. Does that mean I will railroad you into the story? Yeah, absolutely. Will you know it? Not necessarily. So, actually, going back to what we were saying earlier, is it going where I expect it to go? Yes, it'll always go where I expect it to go because I'm railroading the party without them knowing it. With elves, dwarfs, and orcs. Okay, yeah, all right, I get that. The Star Trek DS9 with elves, dwarfs. Yeah, it's fantasy Star Trek DS9. Okay. I'm in the Realm Lords range cavalry, but they're out of stock. Ah, boo! Have a look at places like Firestorm or Firestorm Games, Darksphere maybe. They might have something. Metagaming is like spoiling the story. Yes, yeah. Yeah, so it's story first for everything in my D&D games. And I use the books and I use existing stats as like a jumping off starting point for what I want to create. The last session they did was they walked up on the Queen of Hearts castle, and I love the idea of the walls weren't that high and they weren't that thick, and it wasn't like if you assaulted that castle with an army, it wasn't going to be the walls that kept you back, but the other side of the walls was a maze. And think like Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter at the end with the maze that changes. But it changes not only with your physical like self, it changes mentally and it reacts to your emotions. And and it went from wall to wall. So the only way to get to the castle was to go through that maze. So the reason that the outer walls weren't thick, because they didn't need to. That whole maze has swallowed entire armies before because they felt despair. So as soon as they start feeling despair, the maze becomes despair. And you just spiral down. So it was really, from a role-playing point of view, it was really interesting to kind of give them little things like, this is what you're starting to feel. The way of getting it out is to find a way, role-play-wise, to feel the opposite. And it was the players helping each other out of kind of different emotions to get through the maze. I did have a moment very like right at the beginning of the maze where they were like, hey, they made a joke of saying, oh, why don't we just all hold hands and sing, you know, we're off to see the wizard. And I was like, if they commit to that idea, they just go through the maze in a straight line. Absolutely. Because when you attack and go into a battle, into a siege, I think the last thing on your mind is like happy, positive thoughts. So, ironically, weirdly, like the way to get to the castle is to think happy, peaceful, you know, song thoughts. So if they were going to go, yeah, no, we're just going to feel happy and positive and uplifting and sing, then yeah, straight line. You defeat the maze in like 5 minutes flat. But they made it a joke and then went, no, we'll do the maze. I'm like, you came so close to just bypassing this whole thing. I didn't tell them that actually. The maze moves, that's tough, sounds like a fun challenge. It also gives you, as a DM, a lot of wiggle room, essentially. I didn't have to physically map out a maze because they basically just had checkpoints that they were going to reach, and it didn't matter how they were going to get there. If they at some point went, they did try and do the Hansel and Gretel kind of breadcrumbs, like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs. So they were doing arrows, but the person drawing the arrows in then started questioning. I had them start questioning which direction they were pointing in, almost having like a sense of vertigo, and going like wisdom saving throws and intelligence saving throws, that kind of thing, to stave off the effects of the maze going, no, we're going to get you lost. This evening I'm actually planning to throwing a gladiator encounter at them that is a halfling riding a big troll, basically Farah and Tor from Mortal Kombat 10. Nice, yeah, okay, I get that. Yeah, that design actually of Farah and Tor is very sword and sorcery, isn't it? One of the party members had the foresight without knowing. Yeah. It's happened many times, to be fair. But most of the campaign has just been me facilitating what they've said, and most of the really, really cool ideas and storytelling moments in this campaign have been born from one of the players saying an off the cuff remark, or kind of like, oh, I think this might be it, and I'm like, that's a really cool idea, I'm going to work that into the story. And so far, it hasn't made it predictable, which is quite fun. But yeah, almost apart from like the main part of the story, like the overall part, which they still have, they don't know and they won't find out until like the second to last session. The rest of it has been just like built off what they've told me, what they've said. Speaking of mazes moving, the game I was developing, like Kingdom Death Monster, had a living labyrinth. Living labyrinths are great, but they're, like I said, they are such a useful tool for the person running the game, because you don't have to play by rules. You can make it up, and as long as you've got the ability to make it up and make it up with conviction, then it totally works, and they're such a gift. It depends on how strong your improv game is. Her name was Labyrinthia, and she was a collector of sorts. Yes, I love that idea. A living labyrinth that collects the people who get lost in the labyrinth. Oh yeah, I like that. Bargaining with the labyrinth. Yeah, I can get behind that idea. So, talking about D&D and bringing it back to miniatures, there's 3 models on my website that all 3 of them are actually in this campaign, because they're original characters that I have either played in D&D or had as NPCs in my campaign, and some various other campaigns in the past. And they're characters that I felt so strongly about that a couple of years ago I ran a Kickstarter to get them sculpted as busts. I would love to get them sculpted as like full-on miniatures, but so Tuk Tuk, I'll show you one now that we're not on TikTok, and now I'm waiting for that to dry. If we go over to, I'll put it on the second screen, there we go. So this is my website. This is 3D print, the 3D print website. And if we go down to busts and display, so we've got Zara, Tuk Tuk, and I've just been doing a new image for Basil. So Tuk Tuk is a character that I played. He's a turtle and he's an adventurer and he's the kindest soul you will ever meet. Here's the art card for him. And this is a character that I played for a couple of years and actually used weirdly as therapy a little bit. I was kind of playing playing myself through Tuk Tuk, and it was I love this character so much. He's an NPC in the current campaign, and then his quartermaster Zara, who's a badass that I kind of created in this campaign because Tuk Tuk needed a crew, and then Basil the Magnificent, which is the most stereotypical wizard of all times, but absolutely off his rocker. He's mad. Such a fun character, and he's also in the campaign as an NPC. So all three of those models were created through the stories, and I loved them so much that I wanted to bring them to life and get models made of them. So yeah, those are available at some point when I get a little bit more, money in the business. Then I'd love to get those three made up as full miniatures. Feel free to use it. Her minion and her minions' blood slimes that animate the bones of the collected adventurers. Oh, that's sick. I love that. Yes. What's scarier than a moving labyrinth with its own cruel sentience? Like a mix of the hotel from Shining and Jim Henson's Labyrinth. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, a living maze. Okay. Right. That's all that done. We're going to just leave those to dry for a second because I think over here the base on this is as dry as it's going to get while we're streaming. So I'm going to grab some Abaddon Black and we're going to just do the rim of these bases, and then by the time I finish this one I can go and do the dwarfs, and then we're done. The project's done, and we're almost at 6 o'clock, so we're just in time. We'll do 2 coats of the black, 2 thin coats, or thin-ish coats, to make sure it's a nice solid colour. And then next week I'll be able to take some photos of these, some proper product photos, and they can replace or be in addition to the unpainted versions on the website. Dope looking bus. Yeah, I'm really happy with how they came along, and that was the first time I'd personally run a Kickstarter, and I learned so much from it. And it, that Kickstarter was brought to light from the community. I used to stream a lot on Twitch, and I had quite a relatively large following on Twitch for miniature painting. But I kind of moved away and wanted to move on to YouTube. But that campaign wouldn't have happened at all without the community. So I'm forever grateful of that. Labyrinthia is one of those one of the adventures in the entire campaign of Castle Ravenmoor. The idea is that a mortal has taken over Oberon at the Faking's castle. Yes, Oberon is. Was it Oberon? I think it was Oberon that I have as my faking. Oh no, Orion. I use Orion as in from Wood Elves fantasy, but he's essentially Oberon. I mean, Orion in Warhammer Fantasy is Oberon. Ariel is Titania. Easy, I'll watch a lot of your shorts and took tips from you. Hey, awesome. I'm glad I got to watch you live and interact with you. Truly humble and nice. Oh, that's very kind of you, Easy. Thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, I'm trying to create more video content. It's just with running a shop at the same time. There's only so many hours in the day. But yeah, my whole thing is like from a content creator point of view. I'm in no way a award-winning painter. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of painters out there way better than me, and can teach you some incredible things. What my whole thing is I want to make this hobby as accessible as possible. That's why I really like using speed paints, because I feel like it's a really accessible way into painting miniatures. You're not having to spend hours and hours and hours on getting the perfect blend. What you can do is take a model from base coat or undercoat to finished in an afternoon or in a day. So even if you've never painted a model before, you can get to the end of the day and go, I did this, I achieved this. And if I can create video content that helps that happen, then that's my tick. That's my box ticked. That's the end goal. That and kind of advice in 3D printing and getting into that whole thing. Got a question. I've always had trouble getting skin correctly. Do you have any tips on doing skin? Yes. Well, with speed paint. So hang on. So with these, I usually spray black and then dry brush white. So you've got all the kind of the darker recesses. They're already black. So when you put a speed paint over, you've got that natural shade. You can see that happen really well here. That bit there. So you got really light brown into the dark brown. That's because there was a black in the recess there. With skin, it doesn't work because all the skin paints through Speed Paint and Contrast and all the other companies, they're very, very translucent. So when you start putting it over just dry brushed white over black, you don't really get a pop. So what I would do is make sure your undercoat is bright white, and for that I would look at getting a paint like, where is it? Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White. This again, not sponsored, but this I think is one of the best white paints on the market. Its coverage is insane. Very, very good paint. Highly recommend. And then once you've done that, it's pretty much, if you just want a very simple way of doing it, just grab something like Crusader skin, or for Citadel Contrast it'd be like Guilliman Flesh, or if you want darker tones, look at Dark Oath Flesh, or even like Gore-Grunter Fur for darker skin tones, and then just load up the brush and do a solid coat over. As it's drying, start just wicking up like the really deep recesses, so you'll realize that when you go over the face and the eyes, you'll have big pools of paint in the eyes. Before it starts drying, just with a clean brush, just start wicking up the paint in things like the eyeballs and the ears and things like that. So it's not quite as dark. You still want that shade, but it's not quite as dark. And then because of the way that these paints work, you're doing your base tone, your shading, and your highlights at the same time, you'll just have a natural looking skin tone. When you want to take it a little further, you can start looking at watering down some pinks and some greens. That's kind of what I did with this. And actually, I can show you another example. Show you two examples. One's a cleaner color scheme, one's a bit more diseased. So this is a model by Archvillain Games. This is a commercial license I used to have, so I used to sell this model. I don't anymore. This actual model, it will be for sale because I want to sell it on. But this was again all speed paints. Sorry, this was all contrast, not speed paints. This was contrast. But this skin tone was achieved by just putting over, I think, Guilliman Flesh to start with, and then making it diseased by adding in kind of little bits of yellow and green and purples, but letting them flow into the skin, because that's how skin works. It's not just one colour. You have lots of variation in it. And then if you really want to, I think in some places... Oh no, I don't. I thought I added some veins, but I didn't. But also think about where your light is coming from. So a lot of light, if you want to standardly think, it will come from above. So underneath, it will be darker. You see round the bottom here. Now this kind of leads me on to the next model. This is a very different way of painting the skin. So this is a model I sell. This is the La Bella Morna, available on our website. Weirdly, this is looking brighter than it is in real life. This is slightly darker. I think my exposure is slightly off. But this was painted in a slightly different way. This was paint white completely, and then I think it was Crusader Flesh all over. Again, when it got into the eyes and got into the the ears, it started pooling too much, so you just wick it out a little bit. Let that dry completely, and then go back in with Crusader Flesh and paint it on normally into the deeper recesses. So into the ears, around the eyes, under the nose, around the lips, and then under that jaw there, you just paint a line there and then blend it in with a wet brush, right? Then, once that's completely dry, you take a very small dry brush. Now for this, I'd really recommend looking at not hobby dry brushes, but makeup brushes. This one kind of goes against it because it's dried paint up here, so this one is on its last legs. But they're very, very soft bristles, and you can pick them up really, really cheaply. I got a set of these different sizes for like £8 in Tesco. Yeah. So with that, you then get something like a white or a beige, or something, depending on what skin tone you're using. But I'd say like a white or a beige. Get most of it off the brush, and in circular motions, just like you're applying makeup, if you've ever applied makeup, in very soft circular motions, go over the highlight parts, the highest parts of the body, of the skin. So for the face, it would be the forehead here, the tip of the nose, the cheek here, the cheekbone, the jaw above that shading there, the jaw, the chin, the tip of the ears up here, and then the bottom of the ears where it would catch the light. And then with a thinned down version of the same paint of Crusader Flesh, so we've only used this in white at the moment, you then go over that whole thing in kind of like a filter, and you've got to work fairly quickly when it's thinned down, because otherwise it will leave tide lines. It will leave these kind of drying marks, and that's the one thing you don't want with this kind of style. And then once that's happened, you can go in with a slightly darker skin tone. For that, I think I used, it was Goddess, no, it was Warrior Skin. Warrior Skin? Yeah, Warrior Skin. Where you go around the hairline and the darkest recesses, the darkest parts, and you just add like that additional shadow, and that's where you can see it like behind the jaw there, in the deepest parts of the ear, around the back of the ears, they're slightly darker, around the waist here. So it's just building up. But this, apart from the lips, was just 2 paints to get that skin tone. 3 if you include the dry brushing of the white, which is the same white as your undercoat. So you don't have to use lots and lots of paints. You just have to think about how you use them and the layers that you work in, and not layers, but the stages that you work in. Yeah, so I hope that kind of answers your question, I guess. I might actually clip that, because that was probably better than I was going to script it. Let me just catch up on chat. White paint is tough, I'll try that. But yeah, no, white is a horrible paint to get right, but Pro Acryl Bold Titanium is fantastic. I picked it up. People were raving about it for ages in my stream, for about a year before I actually tried it. And then I picked it up, I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand. So let's just move that off to one side. But yeah, makeup brushes. Soft bristled makeup brushes, because they come in lots of different sizes and shapes. And so all of these different shapes will have a different application. And the smaller dry brushes, like these two, are absolutely fantastic for dry brushing highlights rather than catching the edges, because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to do that for makeup. So when you're painting faces, paint it like you're applying makeup. You're just applying skin tone. Right, continue on with this. With the orcs I painted and put on Discord, I primed them Chaos Black, dry brush the skin white, contrast painted wild flesh, and the detailed features. Yeah, exactly. Which is what the kids are calling slap chop, or variations, therefore, of slap chop. This model is what made me want to ask about skin tones. I see this on Instagram and I was amazed. Hey, thank you. Yeah, that actually got really... I've printed out another one of those to do a tutorial of how I... do a step-by-step tutorial of how I painted that skin. So there will be a full video of it at some point. But I mean, historically, like cards on the table, I am not a patient painter. That's another reason why I like speed paints. I do not have the patience to sit down and do like non-metallic metal reflections and blending like dark blues all the way up to white through the grey spectrum. I'm not that person, and I've tried it and I never will. I just doesn't. I don't get enjoyment from it. I think it looks incredible, and I have all the time in the world for people who can do it. There's some fantastic people like Flameon Miniatures and Phoenix Miniature Art and JW Miniatures, AC Miniatures. Fantastic painters. It's just not my style. It's just not me. And that's kind of, I think it's very important when you're just getting into this hobby, or whether it's miniatures or art in general, is to find your own style, find your own way of doing things, take inspiration from people and from other paint jobs, but find your own way of doing things, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my stuff. Not patient either. Once I see a colour on a miniature or a model, I just want it finished as soon as the brush touches the model. Yeah, exactly. Well, have a look. I don't know whether you have already, but have a look at Speed Paint range. It's a very different way. Speed Paint contrast. When I say Speed Paint, it's like that style of paint. It's a very different way of painting, as opposed to like traditional acrylics, but it can be incredibly rewarding. There's a couple of pitfall traps to avoid or work round, but once you're aware of them and aware of how each paint kind of flows differently and how to apply it and what works over some colours and what doesn't, it can be incredibly rewarding way of working. Speaking of white paint, Space Marines are one of the easiest minis you can paint unless they are white scars. It's a nightmare getting white just right. This is the next tutorial that's coming out, is painting white armor. That white armor, apart from the weathering that I did over, used one paint. That was literally undercoat white and paint it with this blinding light, which is a shade for white. It's brilliant, and it gives that subtle shading in all the recesses, which, you know, it's a stormtrooper. It's very similar to a Space Marine, and then you just go in with the details. So yeah, that tutorial, it's filmed, it's in the editing suite as we speak. I just need time to go in and I need to write the script and do the voiceover and then just put it all together. I'm hoping to get that done next week. I said that about this week and the week before, so don't hold me on it, but I hope to get it done next week. And then we'll have a look at freehanding markings and things like that. But yeah, white armor, because I've had requests of like how to paint white scars. And painting a white scar is one, including undercoat, which is white, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paints from a speed paint range. You paint undercoat in white, you do go over the entire model with blinding light, which is your white shade. You use something like Black Legion or Black Templar to do all the armor underneath armor, all the joins in the elbows and the back of the knees and things like that. And then you use a red and a yellow for detailing, and then green for the lenses. So 6 paints if you want to do green lenses. But because you're working from white, you'll hit all your highlights and shades and things like that on the reds, whites, and yellows with just one paint. If you wanted to go down the route of speed paints, but yes, I'll also be doing a white scar tutorial. I have a long list of tutorials that I want to paint, want to produce using speed paints, like how to paint this specific Space Marine faction, how to paint a Stormtrooper. So one of the end goals for the YouTube channel is to have a library of different miniatures painted using these styles. So the end goal is, no matter what you're painting, there will be something in one of the videos that you can apply. Even if you're not painting a Space Marine, there will be something in that Space Marine video, like painting armor with speed paints, that you can apply with a different color to your own model. Another thing that comes up with speed paints and contrast a lot of the time, especially when they first came out, was like you can't paint flat armor panels with them. You can, you've just got to think about it differently. Do you want a solid like tone color to your armor panel? If the answer is yes, then don't use speed paints and contrast, because that's not what they're designed for. But you can paint that kind of model with those kind of paints. You just have to think about it in a different way. It's totally doable and totally possible because I've done it. That's an example. Those are flat panels. But the blue and the pink, they were speed paints. The pink one I made because I wanted to use fluorescent paints, but they are speed paints. And they're flat panels, and it was just one coat for the blue and the pink. It's all about how you set up your undercoat first. Workaround was as follows: Chaos Black primer, thin layers of white scar, white primer over, coral white, white scar, white layer, and then Mephiston red for Crimson Delight. See, like, that's a lot of stages, and it totally works. If that works for you, that's great. Like, I'm not judging anyone's methods or workflows or anything like that. I can only offer how I would do it in as fewer steps as possible to get an end result that you could be happy with on the tabletop, or displaying or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that totally works. But you could, if you wanted to, do it in less. Easy. I just got some speed paints and they changed my world. Yes, convert. Someone told me to get contrast paint next. I wouldn't need anything else. Yeah, I mean, so I started with contrast paint, and then when I started in lockdown, when I started streaming and painting and things like that, I bought the entire contrast range. That was like, I am investing in the business. That was my first big investment, really. And I used those for ages. And then when Speed Paint 2.0 came out, which was their better version, the first edition wasn't very good, and they listened to the consumers and they were like, "Cool, okay, we're going to fix it," and fix it they have. And someone very kindly in the community gifted me the entire Speed Paint 2.0 range. I'm very, very grateful, and I actually use them more than Contrast, probably because they're closer. When I say I haven't got patience, I literally like. If I can get it within reach, I will use these rather than wheeling myself 3 feet. I'm lazy. But I will dive between, but I'm predominantly using speed paints now. Right, we are just going to put the final coat of black on the rim of this base. And then we'll call it a day, I think. But yeah, I like I said, I've got lots and lots of ideas of tutorials. I've got a whole list of what I have planned for the YouTube channel, and it's playing the long game. It's just going to be at some point in the future when I can, I will release those videos, or I will film and then release those videos. Until it's monetized and it starts bringing in some money, I just have to focus on the shop. Because this is my job. This is what I do full time. So I'm very close to becoming YouTube partner. I've got like just under 900 watch hours to go. I've got all the subscribers I need to hit partner. I just need watch hours, and that is going up slowly but surely. So as and when the channel can start making a bit of money, that's when I can start focusing a little bit more on it. Okay, All right, that's gonna. Is this dry? Let's try and do second coats while I'm live. I think at some point I'll stick my Ultramarines on Discord. Yeah, do it, absolutely. If you're not on the Discord already, join the Discord. I always love seeing what people have worked on. I'm trying to become a little bit more active in the Discord because it was a lot more active when I was streaming on Twitch, and then it kind of fizzled out a little bit. But there's not only me, but I have a little section for Merlin Models, who's a streamer over on Twitch. Wonderful person in the community, wonderful member of the community, lovely guy. And so his Discord is kind of twinned in with mine, and we share it. So you get to see all of his community's work as well. Totally understand. Got to make a living first, but that's awesome. You'll get that sponsorship soon. Hopefully, I'm hoping. I've started getting contacted for affiliate marketing. So I'm an affiliate for a company called Kudufi. I hope I'm saying that right. I've never actually heard it said out loud, so I'm kind of just going what it says on the box, which does a all-in-one art box, which is very, very cool. You can see these in my Linktree link. You can see there's two of them. I'll just show you it. I won't go into detail, but I'll be doing a video on this soon. It's this. That's where I've got all my brushes at the moment, but these are two water pots with rubber things at the bottom to help wash the brushes, and they drain properly. And then two of those are wet pallets, and those two are tool holders, like modular tool holders where you can snap out the inserts and make them however you want. This thing's really good and very affordable. And there's a link in my link tree that gets you, I think, 15% discount, and then I get a 10% kickback on it, which is lovely. And the second thing is something that I'm working on at the moment, which you might have seen around on. Oh no, not that one. That one. So this isn't finished yet. This is from a company called Anavrin that do MDF book nooks, and this is part way through. And the quality and the detail in this is insane. They contacted me and went, "Hey, do you want to be an affiliate? We'll send you out one of our products." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. I'll go for the big one. I've been making models most of my life. It'll be a breeze. It'll be fine." This took me 7 hours, and this is halfway. This is the hardest bit, but it took me 7 hours in one day. That was a long day. But it's very, very good. And if you're looking for a really, really cool project, then have a look. Again, the link is down below in my link tree. There's a little section for affiliate posts, and there are two links. That's the onsen, the Jinsen onsen. But there's things like the Grand Library. There's a train car that's very cool, and they've all got moving parts and lights and everything like that. They're really, really cool. I was showing that to my two friends that came over yesterday. They were like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get some." They come with, I would say, a premium price point, which is justifiable considering the quality of the build. I will never, even if I'm sponsored by someone, I will always say what I truly think. And if that means that, I will never get free stuff from Games Workshop because I chat too much shit about them. If it's a hobby product that I genuinely believe in, then I will push it, even if I'm not sponsored, like the Bold Titanium White or Speed Paints, things like that. Sponsored by them, I've seen them on YouTube and so dope. I'm looking at getting them. Oh, awesome! Yeah. So, which one? The Book Nook or the Kudufi all-in-one art box, or both of them? If you are interested in picking up one of them or both of them or whatever, then all I do is I request that you use my code, because then you get a discount and I get a bit of kickback, and it helps. Oh, the all-in thing art one? Yeah, so they contacted me. I was like, this rings a bell. I don't know why I've heard of this. And then it was a Kickstarter. They successfully launched last year, maybe 2 years ago. And when I was looking through the Kickstarter page, I was like, oh, I recognise these people that they clearly, like, they obviously sent out product to for review and to promote the Kickstarter. I was like, oh, I know these people, or I recognise them on social media or whatever. That was like, oh, okay, you're an actual company and product and things like that. Yes, sure. I'll send me a product, send me a sample, and I'll have a look. And I'm annoyingly, I haven't got enough space here, but I'm really impressed. Really, really impressed by the build quality. The price as well. It's very, very cheap. Or it's sorry, not cheap. It's affordable. It's very affordable for what it is. Yeah. So, thank you, Easy. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. Right. Okay. With all said and done, I think we're finished. I will add a couple. Oh no! Ooh, no, I haven't finished, but I can't finish it on stream because I don't have it to hand. What I've done on the previous ones is I've added like green glowing sections to the bases, but I need that to fully dry before I do that. So, but apart from that, we're done. There's the mortar. Actually, the oxidization's really brought this together. I'm a big fan of that, and you can see the green glow, and you've got the glow from the stack at the back, and then you've got the three crew here that should come together nicely. And then the big thing that we started finishing at the beginning of the stream is the Calamity Devastator. I will add some tufts to this when this is fully dried. Really happy with how this has come out as well. Love the weather. I love doing this weathering. I know it's not to everyone's style and to taste, but I really enjoy it. I love it. That's my model. So, but yeah, okay. So, all of those are available on my web store, alchemistmodels.com. You can find a link down below. I do ship worldwide. All that jazz. And I actually added a load of products to it this week. What was added? There was the Cult of Change. Actually, why don't we just, while we're here, we'll just go and have a look very quickly before I sign off. So, here is the new releases on the website. You can find it in the top menu. And I added a load of the 28mm Classic Fantasy range, along with the Parasite Collectibles Change. Cult of Change, that's what it's called. So we've got the hobgoblins that go along with the demon smiths or any greenskins. You've got some undead reinforcements, some characters, the undead spirits and the feral ghouls. Some dwarf ones as well. So we've got the flame cannon. These are actually the final dwarf reinforcements. So we've got the flame cannon, the lord on shield bearers, the grand lawmaster, and the crossbow unit. And then we've got these phenomenal sculpts from Parasite Collectibles. This one, it's called the Red Prince, and it's quite similar to a certain character in a series that begins with 2 H's, maybe. It is at that scale. There are options. Let's go and have a look. There's options for wings and helmet, and no wings and no helmet. And there's actually a bust of this that I've just printed out, but there wasn't a render of it, so I've printed it out, and I will do a proper product photo of it. These are very, very cool, and they're absolutely massive. What's the really tall one? This one, Great Invocation. This is 270mm tall. That's almost a 30cm ruler. It's phenomenally huge and very, very cool. So yeah, so all of those are the new releases that came out this week, but I'm adding stuff as soon as I can, all the time. Hey, you're not on camera. There we go. So, that is the end of the stream. We've gone for an extra half hour because I've really enjoyed talking to you all. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out. And we've got 2 projects done. Those are 2 things, 2 big ticks that I can sort out. Product photos for next week, and they can have that up online on the web store. Shop pay. I'm cheap. Sorry, but that's cool. Shop pay. Oh. Shop pay is in on the website, as in like the method of paying. Yeah. That's where you can like stagger the payments, right? I think is that the shop pay one? I think that is. So anyway, yes, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. I will be live again. I'm going away for the weekend. I'm going away tomorrow because I'm going to go pick something up, or a couple of things up for the business, which I will explain on Monday, which will be when I'm streaming. I stream 4 p.m. till 6 p.m. UK time, Mondays and Fridays, as often as I can. Sometimes it doesn't work out, depending on what I'm doing, but I will try. Those are the 2 days that I try and stream. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, then please do consider subscribing to the channel and sharing the content. Share it to people who you think might like it. As it grows, I can offer more content out, which would be great fun. But I'm gonna call it there. I think Bailey hasn't been fed, so I will go and feed the dog, and I will hopefully see you all on Monday. Have a lovely weekend, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing. And if you're watching this as a VOD, thank you very much for re-watching me paint models and chat shit for a couple of hours. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.